What's up, folks? It's 2Bricks, and welcome back to the next update of my Building the 10-foot Venator Star Destroyer in LEGO series. Hey, for those of you who don't know, for those of you who are new to the channel, first of all, welcome. This is my effort to build a 10-foot long Star Destroyer, Venator Star Destroyer specifically, to be in scale with my pre-existing micro fleet series, of which I have hundreds of ships in a big old playlist, and I go through each one of them as I design them. I go by, the different movies, video games, TV series, so check that out. It's kind of like the original flagship series of this channel. I haven't been updating it as of late because I've just simply been too busy on other larger scale mocks and things, but I do intend to get back to making ships for the fleet very soon. But today we're going to be looking at the progress for the Venator. So this is it right here. A couple of folks jokingly suggested do a minifigure scale one, and that actually gave me the idea of placing some minifigures down here just so that you can get a sense of how they look. So obviously here we have Obi-Wan and Anakin arguing strategy with one of their troops there, and that's how they look in the bay. And of course, Anakin and Obi-Wan will also be piloting these two ships right here for scale, in the proper scale here to the rest of the ship. So lots to talk about today. I've made some big changes, lots of progress. I've designed some new elements of which I'm going to be duplicating, and I've got lights in that particular element. So yeah, tons and tons to look at today. I'm super excited. I'm going to be showing you some of my new ideas and plans and things that I've thought of, and things that a lot of you commenters gave me to think about, which is really cool. I love when people make me rethink or second guess and make me take another look at something. So I'm really excited to get in and just take a look at everything. So lots of work up at the front here, lots of detail stuff. So we're probably going to go ahead and start down there because it's the biggest, most substantial change, and then we'll go from there. All right, and you can see here I have my copy of the Revenge of the Sith Incredible Cross Sections. And the main area that we're going to be taking a look at today that I have been working on is this right here. So I've been taking a lot of inspiration, definitely not going, trying to do anything direct one-to-one, but definitely a lot of inspiration for this section of the ship right here that I have been fully detailing up around the very primitive frame that I had constructed before. So you can see here we have some interior of the hangar completed. We have the front bay door that opens up right here. And I actually already had a kind of a pre-existing stickered element here that looked Star Wars-y for both sides. I think this was from one of the Mandalorian sets, I believe. But anyways, I decided to throw that in there because it looks cool. Here's the view down the hangar from here. Obviously you can't see much because the focus is really bad, but there you go. And so yeah, I actually went ahead and took a look at some of these details in here that I really liked. So focus please. So I really liked these doors, and I really liked the idea that there's like a little kind of loading dock off to the side here for something. And so basically I added in a couple of doors here. So I'm using these crates to give the impression of the doors that are recessed back there. And then also these, the implication that these would be opening doors here as well. And then I also really liked the little kind of, flight deck kind of markings there to show like ships that are taking off out of the front, like, hey, you're running out of runway, so you better pull up soon. So I decided to do some indicator lights to kind of give that idea. And then a sort of a final gold stopping line here, like you really don't want to go any further beyond this point, unless of course you're coming out of the main door. So yeah, I just thought it was really cool to take some inspiration from those elements. And then I also rethought a little bit about the hangar itself and how I'm going to be configuring these doors and things. So I'll get to that in a little bit here, but I'm really happy with the overall impression. Let me just rotate this around a little bit of the front here, especially when the door is closed. We have the very recognizable details here. So these 4 vanes out at the front, with this all kind of swoops back and tucks in, and all of this nice detail in here. And then we have also the these are officially tractor beam emitters off to the side here. So 4 of those, and then just the way that this all just sort of tucks in, and this spherical, or I guess quarter spherical element here. And then of course this part right here, which is just a stopper for the door. I just feel like it all fits very nicely. And then the opening bay doors will rest right on top of this, and we'll move to the sides. So that's obviously to be determined at a later date. But the detail continues down all the way, and we have even a little viewing deck right here implied with some implied windows. And then moving back, we can see here, so again, in taking inspiration from the book, we have a couple of sets of little old turbo lasers right here, which I thought was cool. So I decided to do a similar thing, and I actually kind of made my own idea here for this little kind of Turbolaser manned area, and I wanted to sort of evoke a similar look to the larger double Turbolaser that's back here somewhere that I haven't built yet, but that has this kind of spheric or cylindrical compartment, and then the crew would be in there kind of, you know, taking aim, and then we have a turret under here for them to man. So yeah, I have one of those on both sides. I'll show you the other side in a minute. And of course, this being the detail trench, I just really want to jam pack this full of beautiful details to look at when you get up close to this thing, and you really want to get a sense of the scale of this in terms of like thinking about crew members going around to these various sections, what they might do, what the greeblies and the mechanical stuff might be, and then of course when you pull back, you just perceive it as a large gray stripe, all right, with some finicky details in there. So that's the idea. I want it to work up close and far away. And of course, I am still also continuing to try to use older elements that I have on hand where I can. So things like these trash cans. We have these old, this is from like the original Darth Maul speeder bike. This one is too, actually. And then like one of these weird large Ninjago sword blades. This cross support beam on its side. And then just, yeah, tons and tons of weird eccentric little details throughout. There's even an old school musket rifle down there. So basically just having fun in the same exact way that the Star Wars model designers for the original movies that made these models did. And of course, as there have continued to be Star Wars model makers in the present day, and even in the CG models, they also sneak in little Easter eggs and fun things. So I wanted to definitely play around in that space and have fun. So this has been really, really cool. I've really, really enjoyed this process so far. It does take forever. Like whenever I place a piece, I just think to myself, like, this is the last time I'm probably ever gonna use this piece, because I don't intend on ever taking this apart once it's built. And so that it's locked in, you know, for good. Will I need this piece for any other mock? The answer is usually yes, I probably will, but then I'll just have to buy another one, another copy of that piece for later on, you know. But it is still, I do still try to really consider what I'm using and where. Things like, you know, this single tank tread right here. I'll probably be doing a mock of something that requires exactly one more tank tread and be like, curses, I used it on the Venator, but oh well. So yeah, I try to also really capture the depth of this. I didn't want it to feel like just a flat piece with just a couple of plates and things stuck on top. I really want it to feel like you can really get in here and you can see the depth of all of the greebles all the way through the trench. So yeah, really, really pleased with all of this. And of course, that'll be fun for people to come and look at conventions and stuff like that. So the front here is much more sort of clean and uniform. And you have, like I said, the 4 veins and the hemisphere. It's like very recognizable. And then you can really have fun with just the randomization of this stuff down here as well. So you can't push the randomization too far or it just looks like a mess. It's kind of a fine balance. So I'm really happy with it so far. So let's take a look at the other side real quick. So you can see here we have the same setup here for the high level details. So we have the turret right here and that whole station. That's pretty much exactly a mirrored build, as are the tractor beam emitters here. But then as you progress back, you start to have more fun with just different kinds of weird details and just basically, yeah, just varying it up a lot. I'm even using a couple of stickered elements here. So I have this cool Star Wars sticker. Not exactly sure what that was from. It's from, I want to say it's from a starship. It was used to detail some large like console, maybe a Star Destroyer, I forget exactly. But point is that you can use a lot more randomized elements, like I said, throughout, and then just kind of have fun with it. So there's a couple of these like toothed pieces in here from these old fingered hinges. Again, another stickered element down here. That's just something that I had lying around. And then just coming up with fun patterns like these elements down in here, the way that they all kind of come together to form this stripe down the middle, and then these 2 things to the side. I don't know what those are supposed to be, but there you go. There's sort of this old, really, really old sort of Technic cylinder piece right here, which I'm using. And I've just kind of filled it with interesting little details in here to make it look like some sort of a thing. And again, I'm trying to give the sense that there are windows and portholes and things all around, so crew members can be just looking around
out of the windows and things into space as you would expect them to. So it's very simple the way that I'm attaching all of this. So I'm using brackets. So there's a bracket facing down, and one underneath facing up, then another one facing up on top, and that forms the basis for a 6 stud tall detail trench. And then when the plates that come on over the top here come down, they will slightly overhang this by a little bit, and then they'll just conform to the shape pretty nicely. And then I think somewhere around here is where we have the cutout section. So that will mainly be the detailing will flatten out a little bit for that section. The plate, the sort of hull plate will cut in, and then you'll have that large cannon turret thing that I was mentioning that sticks out of the side. It's one of the only kind of identifiable bits of the detail from a distance is that large cannon coming out the side there for that. So that's going to be a really cool little kind of landmark to hit. So really, really happy with that. You'll also notice this is standing on legs. So I have 2 support columns currently, and these are actually regular system bricks with Technic on the top and the bottom, and then those are held in with these long beams, so 4 on either side, not to be confused with Republic long beams, which are a type of ship from the High Republic era, but these are long Technic beams that then plug into the very, very bottom that goes into the central spine here and is all connected in with these L bracket Technic pieces in here. It connects the side struts to the main spine to the legs, so it's all locked in very, very sturdily, and there's absolutely no worries about this coming off. And it's kind of a modular system, so what I can do is add more legs going down using the same type of build, and then I'm going to attach them across the middle here with Technic, and then I'm going to put a collar around the whole thing, just a 1 brick thick black rectangle that will go all the way around this. So whatever the length of the final legs ends up being, I will just basically slip a collar over it to clean it up and make it look nice and not Technic-y and multicolored. So that'll be a nice kind of non-attention grabby solution there for the stands. And so I have just the 2 legs so far. Probably going to be making large feet, and then also probably a joining kind of spine thingy that goes up across the bottom for each of the feet. And I'm thinking there's probably going to be a 3rd foot back here as well, but I don't know as of yet. If I can get it to support itself on just the 2, I'll just go with the 2. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so that's kind of the overall changes to the structure, other than I guess the fact that I double strengthened this back spine portion right here as well, and have just locked it in with a couple of these Technic elements joining across the 2 sections. But that's about it. So yeah, I'm super duper happy with how that's all going, and it's enabling me to just put detail right on the top, and then just planning out how I'm going to do the top sections as I go, and the opening doors is going to be obviously a huge challenge as well. So we'll see how that goes. But I wanted to talk about what I did with this Hangar Bay situation back here and what I'm thinking about for it. So let me turn this back over because it's intended to be looked at from the other side, and take a look at that. All right, folks, so here is a look at the Hangar Bay from the other side. Apologies, I'm actually re-recording this section of the video because the audio got all corrupted and messed up. So this is take 2, so sorry if I forget to say some of the things I said the first time. But essentially, the idea here is that instead of having just these teeny tiny doors going all the way back, we're actually going to scale up and actually widen out as we go further back, because there is more space back here, and there are several depictions that I've seen of the Venator that do actually take advantage of that. And unlike what we see here in the book, where everything is just kind of like, it's a single trench that runs right the way back that kind of stays, it looks like it stays the same width, or maybe it the whole thing angles very subtly out, but it doesn't sort of step back. So I'm doing the more stepped back version, which I have seen, I think it was in the Clone Wars or something else. Anyway, the idea being that as the as the triangle gets wider and as the roof gets higher, we can have taller doors and spread them out a little bit further. So I'm going to probably be widening this out slightly as I go, maybe another 2 to 4 studs total by the back half here. So then we can have more ships side by side on the deck. And then as we go further, this would be for like smaller starfighters to dock in, and this would be a larger space here for like the scene that we see with Obi-Wan doing his little sort of planning operation for Utapau. So I've ordered a bunch of these, so I don't actually want to use these particular actual pieces right here because they have the nice graphics on them, and I actually applied the stickers for those pretty well. So I don't want to use those up because they look nice on display with my Star Wars figures. But I just wanted to basically build a little brick-built frame around this to show that this is one door, and then I'll be able to just build nice sturdy building on top of that with regular construction as opposed to this sideways construction that I would be relying on for this part. And then that way there could be absolutely no doubt that the ships that I want to show in here, like the LA-AT gunship, which I will just grab really quick over here, would be able to fit into the hangar bay here and actually fly out of it. So obviously it's raised up on the stand right now, but it definitely fits. So that's the idea. So I've ordered a bunch of these. A bunch of them are on the way currently in the mail, and I will be trying to experiment with that. I probably didn't get enough to do the full section back here, but just at least to get me started. So there's that. And since I'm re-recording this section, I also just wanted to show you something that I did since I shot the main portion of the video. I just started to play around with some top hull plating here. Very temporary, but just to get a sense of what it might look like when I start to throw skin down on top of this thing and how it's all feeling proportion wise. So this is the very beginnings of that, and obviously you can see here I'm just emulating these little unique details here, or at least one of them, just starting to figure out how I might depict that. The main part of the hull is kind of square, and then it meets up with this angled section out here. So thinking about maybe doing that with wedge plates to show that strip of extra detail on the side, if that makes any sense. It doesn't, I'm kind of not explaining it well, but that's the idea. And I'm just sort of beginning to play around with that. But again, very temporary. Please don't take any of this as final. In fact, that kind of goes for everything, right? The whole thing is evolving and changing as I build. So don't take anything that I say as final. Even if I say it is, it probably can still change. So there you go. I also did have a couple of these fun pieces here that I just put aside for the back of the hangar. So I actually took a lot of folks' advice and actually decided to ditch the Battlefront 2 T-shaped hangar where it's like it all connects together. And instead I'm going to do the kind of the bridge that we see here. And we see this actually very prominently in the Clone Wars as well. Where the back of the hangar bay here terminates. We have the large one that opens out into space with the crane and everything like that, with the blast doors that can close over it. I'm going to just be representing the whole, but the back of the section that I currently have built for the Venator stops right before that opening right there. So what I'll do is in the back section here, once I get to it, I will just build that large section in here and then have the bridge right here at the back. And actually really like this piece right here. I think this is from Moff Gideon's cruiser. I'll just go ahead and place that right here at the top. It's perfect size for a bridge to be overlooking the hangar bay area. And these are also like nice little details that I can put over the doors, because when I was rewatching the Clone Wars season 7, where Ahsoka and the clones are all facing off, there was these little details above the door that I thought looked really cool. The classic sort of Imperial stripe motif, and those will be back here. So there's 2 doors either side of that bridge, and then you have the big hole with the crane in it, and then you have the rest of the deck. So that's going to kind of work out perfectly. I don't have to worry about trying to connect all of that and have all that hollow space in there. I will still represent each of those 2 hangar bays back there as they're supposed to be, but they will just be their own individual hangar bays. So there's that. And then this over here is just a nifty thing. I realized I had from the old classic Millennium Falcon set these pieces that I'm not going to ever use for anything. And so I thought what would be really cool, connect them together and also use one of the more modern dish pieces there to finish off the top of the dome. But to use that to represent, so I'm just having to carefully not knock over the frame, this right back here. So when I eventually finish the superstructure, right, that houses that, I think it'd be really cool to have the ability to have a cutaway where we can see the main reactor of the ship in here, and even perhaps have all of the lighting and all the wires and stuff for it go down into that main reactor. So it's literally the power source for the ship's lights will be coming from the reactor of the ship. That's a nice thought. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that or not, but there that is, ready in case I do. I didn't think I would be able to build such a large spherical sort of looking thing. Obviously right now it's just a shallow dome. It would sort of represent this top section right here, but it'd be nice to get this big
secondary kind of chamber coming off of it, and like I said, have all of the lights for the whole thing come out of that. And then of course that complicates things, so I have to figure out a way to open up this whole side panel so that you can take that off at conventions and stuff and show people the interior of that. But we'll see how that goes. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. It's just a nifty idea, and I like it. So it's really hard to state to you in a way that comes across on the video how mad this is, right? When I'm actually looking at it, when I'm picking it up and lifting it, and it's literally, I don't know if you guys have seen on my Instagram or not, this is literally almost as long as I am tall. So it's nuts. So, you know, as this comes together, I really hope that it's possible for me to find ways to convey to you just how huge this is. And especially once we get into the back half and we really start to see the entire thing. Like, we're used to seeing Lego sets that have these little micro details in them, right? But you just can't convey through the camera how big this is in real life. And I'm struggling for a way to really be able to show that to you guys, that you'll be able to appreciate it visually. I guess it really isn't possible, so you'll have to, at some point, come out and see this at a convention or something like that if you want to really get the full scope of it. But I still got to build the back half. So the measuring stick that I was using before to show the entire length of the ship is gone. I've actually been recycling those parts and putting them back into the frame of the ship. Oh, and I didn't mention actually that I tied together the structure here a little bit more with some additional frame struts coming out from the middle. It actually turned out to be relatively simple. I didn't need to use a ton of complicated geometry. I just sort of find a part where they naturally want to come together and rest, and then I just put some hinge bricks across them. It's actually really not that hard, and yeah, I've been having a great time with it. So probably gonna have one more support strut back here somewhere, and then I may do some cross beams or triangular things as well to sort of give it some extra strength. And I had an idea that I'm going to try to execute. We'll see how it goes. That the whole of the bottom skin of the ship could actually be used structurally, as opposed to being like a burden on the structure like most underside ship structures are, by sort of creating a suspension bridge type of an idea, where I'm going to have the official Lego string pieces attached to the hull plating itself, come up to the central frame, and then hook in and just sort of pull the whole underside up towards the middle. That will actually help to support these outer frames here as well. This is going to be super, super strong by the time it's done, with all of this, multiple direction building, stacking it up across all of these bracket pieces, and then double stack Technic. So it's already going to be really, really strong. And I also have like internal supports here periodically, the brackets, just to keep those squished in. But to give it even just a little bit of extra boost of strength, I think having that sort of suspension bridge idea, just instead of basically having a thing that constantly wants to fall down and droop down and bring the whole structure down, it'll actually be reversing the strength and putting it back into the ship. That's the idea there. So hopefully that works out. We'll see how it goes. Wish me luck. Okay, and the last thing that I wanted to show you guys, so you can see here we have these little gun turrets that are obviously able to rotate around, and the gun barrels can move up and down, and they can target enemy vessels. And so I have gone ahead and done my own one right here, and I could not be happier with it. So there's a lot of iconic things about this that if you've looked at the design up close, which funnily enough you can do, because there is a Wikipedia entry for this gun turret for some reason, which I think is very funny. You can see here that the kind of main features that you're right. So obviously the shape is the main kind of thing that's iconic about it from a distance. The little red accents above and below the windows there, but the little kind of sideways or 45-degree angled gun barrels here that are squared off with a little bit of red there. It's super fun. And then you can actually adjust these. They have a really nice smooth motion up and down, and you can just target your ships. And of course this is on a turntable, so you can do a full 360, aside from the lighting, of course, the wires for that. So I created a little channel that would run underneath here that can just allow lights to come through. And then I have mounted lights right behind this window here, because in Revenge of the Sith, we'll do that big flyby at the beginning, the one that I keep showing in my videos. And you can see here the windows are very nicely lit, and you can actually see people even walking around in there.
as the turrets kind of turn around and follow the ships as they go by. So it's really, really cool. I wanted to do that, and of course, so I just busted out one of my old lighting kits that I was sent to review, and here I have a lit window. So it's super bright on camera. Wow, look at that! Look at the light that is casting. Holy cow! So I'm probably going to be dimming this down a fair bit for the final result. But I just wanted to get something to see how that would feel. And boy, that feels so cool. Wow, look at that. Look at that, illuminating this whole space. That's crazy. So yeah, this is more of this would be more of a liability, right? How bright this is. It would create a really easy area to target for enemy vessels. But yeah, I'm just super thrilled with how this looks. And obviously parts for this to order, or parts to build 8 more of these have been ordered and are on the way. And I'm so excited to have a Venator frame to actually mount these on. So there's 4 on either side, and they each have these unique little trench designs here that that sit underneath them. So those are going to be really fun to design. And yeah, this thing looks so killer. I'm so happy with it. Let's turn off the lights real quick and then just give you guys a better look at it. Yeah, really try to be, like I said, economical, like with all of these things with this, but try to capture all of the details that you would want to see for this. So yep, super thrilled. This is my gun turret design, and I'm sticking to it. So there you go. Oh yeah, and something some folks were mentioning on Instagram is that this feels like it's way too small. It's not. I actually measured it on my blueprints in studio. These are supposed to be exactly 10 studs long from the tip of the cannon to the back, and that's exactly how big they are. So I think once you have it in place and it's surrounded by the kind of encasement of the ship around there, and then we see all of the little kind of details in the trench under here as well that kind of extend it and make it feel bigger, I think that's going to feel absolutely fine. I don't think it's going to bump anybody. But yeah, I did notice that quite a few people were like immediately like, that's too small. But yeah, these are actually not that big. I mean, it's the size of like a Juggernaut turbo tank, you know. It's huge in that sense. But you know, on the ship itself, it's like not that huge of a feature. So yeah, I actually have seen a couple of models that have even exaggerated this, where they're like 3 times the size just for emphasis. And I guess maybe Lego sets have also, or other models have kind of thrown us over the years to make us think that they're bigger than they are, but these are not that big. So anyway, that's just something I wanted to mention. All right, folks, so here is the progress for today, and a couple more scale comparisons just before we finish up. So I wanted to place the most recent official Star Destroyer playset onto my Venator frame as it exists so far, and just give you an idea of that. Obviously that's kind of crazy. And then as well, I mentioned the size of the Juggernaut tank compared to the cannons here. So again, you can see they are really rather massive, but just, you know, it's all relative, right? The Venator is huge, so there you go. Yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you like the opening door feature here? Do you think that the deck is starting to look cooler than it did before? I'm definitely not done. Do you like my ideas for the back sections here for the larger compartments? I'd love to hear all of you guys' thoughts about everything that I'm doing. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. This has been a really fun one to shoot, a little bit chaotic as all of these updates have been up until this point, because I'm just kind of jumping around and building things here, there, and everywhere. But I'm going to be doing my patron shout out for the video now, so get ready, Core Fluxo, for your shout out. This is shout out number 3 for you, Core, so you're going to be getting your Star Wars character today. So since Core Fluxo is already a Star Warsified version of your real name, I'm just going to go with General Core Fluxo. So General Core Fluxo is a rebellion general that was given the title after having successfully robbed several banks that were loyal to Imperial High Command and liberating a bunch of funds for the rebellion. And so he was recruited into the rebellion and made into a general and given his own squad to go out and keep doing what he was doing, rob some more of those Imperial vaults, and do it with the full support of the rebellion and a whole team, a strike team behind him. So General Core Fluxo is a really cool kind of Robin Hood-esque type of a figure, helping to fund the rebellion against the evils of the Empire. And I think that's a very cool character, and I hope that you enjoy it. And so if you are interested in helping me to fund my massive endeavors here, just like General Core Fluxo was helping to fund the rebellion, you can head on over to patreon.com/2bricks and you can check out some of the perks that we have available there. And if you sign up at the $4 tier or above, you will get your patron shout out, you'll get your poem, and you'll get your Star Wars character assigned to you. And then who knows, once I circle back around to do the next round of shout outs, what we'll be doing next. Hopefully something crazy, cool, and fun. So yeah, check that out if you want to, and thank you so much for the support. Patrons like Core are helping me to literally be able to purchase all of the bricks necessary to build this behemoth. I'm obviously relying on a lot of my own collection that I already have, but there's a ton of parts I need to order, and support from you guys, direct monetary support in the form of patronage or even just purchases on Rebrickable. My Rebrickable store has over 100 models on it right now, and you can definitely check that out as well. It all goes towards helping me to fund my crazy endeavors that I'm trying to do for 2025. So thank you so much for the support. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting, subscribing, liking, sharing, all the good stuff that YouTube likes you to do. I'll see you guys on the next video, and may the force be with you.